get everybody in the club to start grafting and have a competition with it, and we'll all get together and barbecue.
Yep, do a graft,
and do a graft day.
Yeah, that would be fun, right? Do like a
yeah.
cookout where you do a graft day,
Right?
And you have a yard set up, and you just do a bunch of grafts with your queens.
Yeah, when they turn out, just put them in nukes out there, and everybody get 3 or 4 nukes and go home.
That's a good idea. We started a beekeeping club out here where we live in the hill country, and anybody that's interested that wants to join, let us know. We'll get you involved.
Oh yeah.
We got mentors, and we're not charging anybody. We're doing it for free, man. Most of these beekeeping clubs are charging people to go out and do their stuff. We're not. We just want people to come learn, get involved, because it's therapeutic. First of all, it really is. You go out and work your bees, like you don't focus on anything else but that. You don't worry about bills, car horn honking, none of that crap. And then, I mean, where we're at today, we're out driving. It's a beautiful day out. Flowers are blooming. You know, that's kind of part of the deal too, is you got to get out of the house to go work them. Yeah. So keep that in mind when you want to do bees. You also have to go. It's part of getting outside and being in nature. So, but yeah, grafting.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
We'll go, like a lot of times, me and my wife will go work bees. We'll take fishing poles with us. We're done at the end of the day. We go fishing.
Yep.
You know, and but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's work too. Don't forget that it's work.
Oh yes, yeah. A lot of times I go back to work on my regular job to rest.
Yeah.
It's like
take a break from beekeeping. Like, all right, now I can take a break.
Right. It's okay. I'm tired now. Go back to work. But yeah.
Not only that, it costs money, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Beekeeping costs money. One, we just put $30 in gas out for the day. Think of that. We got coffee. We bought food. You know.
Total package on my deal, I bet you I have close to $33,000 invested in it.
In your operation?
It runs about $1,000 a hive.
Okay.
By the time you're done with it and stuff like that,
that's counting your gas, the beef feeding the bees,
feeding them, working them, everything in it. It's going to run you about, and it takes a little time to get to that point, but you're going to have $1,000 invested by the time. Even if you start with one hive, it's not cheap. You buy a nuke. A nuke is anywhere from $250 to $300. All right, now you've got, let's just say, $300 invested in it. A suit's in between $150 and $200. So now you got $500 invested in it.
I had a client purchase 3 setups, not even the bees. 3 complete setups with stands, $776.
Yeah.
Brand new gear, right? That's the business model that I'm kind of running with. How John does his, that's his business. He's doing his way. But when people are coming to me for the model, it's like, no, you buy the gear, right? John has his own gear, and I respect that. He's got all his own gear out on his own yards, and that's his business, man. And it works for him. I'm not going to question his 40 years of beekeeping. No way. No way. I just, with what he was saying, how he's also dealt with theft of his gear, you have to look into those types of things too. If you're going to put your own gear on somebody's property, okay, now you got to risk the theft. What if you if you're buying your bees, right? Now you just lost your own bees. So what I'm doing is having everybody buy all the own gear. I'll go out and do the prep work for you.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good deal, because then they're invested in it. They're not walking away from it or something like that.
One of my property owners actually said that they want to get a bee suit so they can be involved. I said, absolutely yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because now you know what I'm doing with your livestock. And not only that, people are generally interested in what bees do and how they work. And the more people are educated about them, again, the whole Africanized killer, there's a huge stigma. Yes, bees sting. That is their natural reaction to defense. That's all they know. What they know is they're trying to make sure the species lives. How does it? The survival of the species.
Survival, yeah.
Right? They're making survival of the species.
And the knowledge, too, they're doing it, because there's not... You can read it out of a book, but the hands-on, you've got to know what you're seeing.
Yep.
Even after you read a beekeeping book, and there's lots of it out there.
Yeah, my client said she's reading the Beekeeping Democracy book. She said it's a great book. And I've heard it's a great book too, but like he's saying, the real experience is when you go out and you see how the bees work.
Yeah, where you can get it out of your head through your hands.
Yep.
And know what you're looking at. I mean, I can pretty much tell you how old a bee is.
That's why I'm out here today, because
Yeah.
I need to learn how to start doing splits.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do splits yet.
Well, there's so many different ways. It's not even funny. You've got, oh gosh, I've
You do a walkaway split, a demaray, a newspaper.
Right.
I mean,
there's so many different ways that it's and I think it depends more on situations.
or the beekeeper,
Yeah.
a location, microclimates.
Yeah. I think it's all of the above, where it's just your situation and situation at the time.
A lot of people haul ass around here.
They
Man.
are
Holy
flying.
fuck!
I'm
This had
doing-
some guy
I'm
we're doing
70 miles an hour, and this one just blew
Dude
by us.
blows by us
Can't
at
even
100.
see him anymore.
Nah, driving an Audi. Yeah, it blows by you. It's, and it never ceases to amaze you. Like when you're out having a nice drive, there's always that one asshole on the road.
Boom.
Yeah, it just blows by you, man.
Oh yeah. And then I've never really been accused of driving fast.
Yeah, John's.
Normally I'm 10, 15 miles an hour. I'm that slow one that's in the front of everybody.
Yeah. John's driving speed is I don't give a shit.
Right.
That's what.
You got behind the wrong person today.
John's gonna get a bumper sticker that says, "I'm sorry. What is it? You're following so close to me."
You're right.
Yeah.
I wonder if Doc up here, he keeps bees. I called him last week and he didn't answer. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's an older guy. He's a
Optometrist. you said?
optometrist. And he's been keeping bees for a long time too. And he's up here on the corner. And I think he's down to 13. He did have 34 and 35.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of trouble. He had surgeries and all kinds of stuff. So.
This is the thing we're talking about, how to set up a yard, right? If you're going to do this as a business, right? Like how John was saying, hey, that's good that people buy the gear because now they're invested, right?
Yeah.
It's their investment.
They don't
It's
want
their
to walk
property.
away from it.
Yeah, it's their property. It's not mine, right?
Here they get a lot of write-offs
Yes.
for it and stuff like that.
They're
so what I do
huge.
is I move bees on their property. They're mine. They get to write off exemptions of it and stuff like that. And I get places to keep my bees. And I've got them in 4 counties, So I do a lot of driving. It gives me and my wife time together, friends and family and everything like that. So and while you're driving, looking at stuff.
Well, that's the thing, the beekeeping that I did through Heroes to Hives, that's what it was mostly geared around, was getting the family reintegrated from service, right?
Yeah, it keeps it gets your mind focused better and off the bad stuff and onto the good stuff.
Yeah. Because beekeeping really is, it's about, if you're in it for the honey, okay, that's cool, but
you're not going to see a whole lot.
Yeah, that's...
You're not. This has been an exceptional year. Everybody should see honey this year, at least in this area.
Yeah,
and,
where we're at, everything's out here blooming. What we're seeing the thistles blooming big time.
But for a vet, it does give us mental health. It really does. Because it slows our mind down, make us focus on stuff.
It forces you to slow down.
It forces you to do it, and in forcing you, it's teaching you to actually come back to real world. And it's helped. I ain't gonna be the one to lie to you. It's helped a lot, and so it's not just a BS program. I think it's an excellent program. Keeping them as long as I have. I'm a vet too, and it helps. It helps a lot.
And what it also does is, like, you start learning about your local plant life.
Yeah,
it really brings you back down to it brings you back to earth, man. It brings
you
you
but
back
you
down
have
to ground.
Camaraderie. Just because you're a beekeeper, people come up and talk to you. So it gives you back the social skills. Everything like that. And
like when people see you out in beekeeping suits, they want to come talk to you.
Yes, all the time. All the time.
So it forces you also to be social, right? If you're having social issues, hey, guess what?
It does force you to be social.
Yep.
It does.
And that's what we did with the group, John and we have another gentleman and his wife. What he did, he worked for NASA at one time. I won't give out too much information, but he was ex-military. I think he was he Marines or Air Force? I think he was ex-Marine. I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's ex-Marine. Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
But when we put out the kind of all points bulletin for Beekeepers, it was pretty amazing what happened, man. It really was. More beekeepers came out than we had actually expected.
Yeah, a lot of people showed up. A lot of people showed up to your meeting and everything, and that I think it's turning out real good.
Yep.
And it's just like everything else. Everybody's busy, so it's some people get to come one week and they not the next, and then they're there again later.
Yep.
But it's still. But we have contacts.
Yep.
We have contact with them. We still talk to them. And,
like had we not started the group, I never knew there was somebody out in another county just one over that's keeping bees that's selling nukes.
Right. Right.
I'm like, great, awesome, a veteran selling nukes, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's keep him busy and let's fund.
Right.
Yeah, we'll keep his operation going and get other veterans in the county involved.
Yeah, I've got 37 hives, and I plan to buy from him.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And,
he's selling. Our guy is selling full hives too.
Yeah.
He is selling full hives ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's an excellent program. I think it's going to help a lot of us. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was keeping bees way beforehand, and never really had dreamed that it does help until it was pointed out and it's like, hey, it does.
Yeah.
It does this.
But then
and
think
it
about
hits on all the points that it's supposed to be there for.
But think of all the times you've called and told me, man, I'm stressing.
Oh yeah. I call Rick. After me and Rick got together, I'd call him up. Hey, it's freezing outside. There's 2 inches of ice on my hives. I'm threshing. Oh yeah, just stressed out. And there was some of them that came back this year that are 3 boxes strong that I know didn't have 2 cups of bees and 1 queen. And now they're 3 boxes, and I'm splitting down 3 boxes and everything like that. But yeah, I called him a lot. Hey, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought living in Texas too, we would have perfect weather to beekeep, but I was dead
This
wrong.
is some of the harshest.
I was dead wrong, y'all.
It's drought.
I was dead wrong.
This year we're not in a drought. The last 3 or 4 years we've been in a drought.
Very
and
extreme.
it's like,
Drought with cold too.
Yeah.
Drought with freeze. That's the thing. It was drought with 2 hard freezes back to back, year after year. And me and John did the research, and I think we said it was 30 years or 1930s.
Yeah.
Right? In the 30s, when this kind of weather happened in Texas, right?
Yeah.
When they had bad freezes back to back. So, or almost close to 100 years?
Yeah, like in the Llano area in the 30s, the old timers were telling me there when we had freezing, ice, snow, everything like that. In the 30s, they had 16 inches of snow.
16 inches. In Llano, Texas, y'all.
Yeah, in Llano. And then I guess it's been 2-3 years ago, they had freezing and snow there. I don't think it was the depth or anything like that, but the intense cold, that hadn't happened since the 30s.
Yeah.
And but we did lose some hives that froze, and it wasn't due to moisture or anything. It was that intense. And
did you say you had one that a tree fell on and big broke cluster?
Yeah, I had one that a tree fell on because the ice broke the tree, and it broke the cluster, and they were just all piled in the bottom, frozen. And I had some that were knocked over by trees, and
it's like
that
wind,
wiped them
ice.
out.
Yeah.
I'm talking tree trunks big as a steering wheel or bigger falling on them. I had one box that was crushed by like a 30-inch tree trunk that
Did you say though that you noticed that some of the trees that have oak wilt on them are coming back?
The one that had oak wilt that was killing the oaks, they started coming back.
There's our guy right there.
Yeah, he's got beehives all along there.
He's got a couple stacked up high too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's got feeders on them.
Yep.
And full bloom and feeders on them. That ought to tell you something. Even though we have flowers
Yeah, look at all
here.
these. See, we're driving roadside here, and we're looking. We got all the Indian paintbrushes, like I said, thistle.
Yeah.
There's some
But
other.
they're in the bar ditch. You look out there in
in the pastures.
the pastures, it's
empty.
grazed down,
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
And the bar ditch is the only thing that's full of flowers.
Yep.
So
I see a lot of pastures that are covered in thistle. I mean, the bees are pollinating it.
Right.
I was watching them pollinate it yesterday. They're bringing in purple pollen off the thistle.
yeah. But yeah, this one here. And Doc does pretty good with his bees as far as I know.
Yeah.
I hadn't spoke to him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And normally we go over there and we'll run through his stuff and then I'll carry on. And but yeah, like this here, you can see in the bar ditch,
Yeah.
is these people mow it, but look in the pasture, it's the same height.
Yep.
You know?
And it really is. I won't show you. I'm not going to point the camera for because I'm not going to tell anybody where we're at, but it really is. What you see here, you're driving roadside, right? The bar ditches on the side of the roads are completely pollinated, but then you look out and there's hundreds of acres that are just overgrazed.
Yeah. So there's
No BS. It's just there might be some settling ponds where there's some pollination going on, but no, it's all overgrazed.
Yeah.
Like this is all that's all mesquite, right?
Yeah.
That's all mesquite
all
right
mesquite.
here. We got pecan trees here.
Yeah.
And you
But
said
yeah,
you noticed that's where a lot of the bees do the breeding at, is in the pecan orchards.
I would love to get a hold of a pecan orchard where I could put nukes up underneath the pecan trees. And they'll actually go up above, about 200 feet above it and breed like queens will. But if they like, they'll hang in those pecan trees. And plus it gives the ample shade and coolness that you need for heat and cool of the hives. And they just do better in the orchard like that. Than
Is it any orchard, or have you just...
I'd rather use the pecan orchard, but I bet you could use, if they're not spraying peaches or something like that, you could use a peach orchard.
Okay.
And there's one up here that a lady owns that I talked to about putting bees. There's some more beehives right there.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And they did put squash in here. And now he's got oats this year. So I don't know why. He raised squash for years. And
see, now think if that whole thing was pollinated with squash, like that would be totally rad.
Yeah, that's what the hives, and they got 5 or 6 more hives on the back side of that little hump right there. And
think of the pollination you'd have if you had squash fields out there.
yeah, they'd pollinated. They did real good. They had several men out there working the squash.
Really?
Yeah. And this is the first year I've seen him not raise squash, so I don't know if there's a contract involved or if it's just other stuff going on.
Yep. And once again, there's cows over here overgrazing the field, and right here in the bar ditch in front of us, it's just pollen.
Yeah, you got flowers here, but there's none over there. And a couple of weeks ago, that was full of flowers.
Yep.
And now it's not. Now they've ate it down. And
really,
it was plumb full of those yellow flowers all the way across there.
Yeah, Texas, like the hill country Texas, it's got a really diverse population of wildflowers. It really does.
And they do real good. But the grazing, people overgrazing, well, they got to make money too.
Yeah. And I don't know how it works with livestock, like cattle and stuff. I think the acreage is different. I don't know. But I know with bees, you have to, in the county we're in, and I just found out that the actual president of one of the clubs fought to keep our county at 3 hives to get the tax exemption.
Yeah, well, like a lot of counties, 6 to 8 to 10 hives, depending on
our guy
the
over
amount.
our other county over. I think his is 12.
Yeah, and that's too many hives for a location as far as number of flowers go. And you're actually starving them down. You got to constantly feed them. And it's like...
So say you had 6 strong colonies, right? What kind of acreage would you need to sustain that type of colony of live pollen?
Well, they'll fly 3 miles on average. Then they'll turn around and fly. If it's not enough food, they'll fly up to 7.
Okay.
So within 7 miles, and that's just 1-2 colonies. Now, when you got 6 to 8 colonies, they're weakened because of the food source.
Yeah.
They actually need to drop it down and have more people. And then a lot of the county areas actually need to, if they're worried about bees and stuff like that and the numbers of bees, we have to have more symbiotes. I would recommend that a lot of county people, like you have a county district and stuff like that, they need to actually put it on the tax board where they got a county beekeeper, and they put it on county properties. And that will actually build it up, keep the numbers alive and stuff like that.
So 6 would probably be like a decent number for a tax exemption.
Yeah, 3 to 6, depending on, you know, if you got 20 acres and you're needing tax write-offs on it, I would say 6 hives. Smaller than that, I would say 3.
See, if you're
You're going to have more than that anyway. In less than a year, you're going to be doubling up those numbers.
I would like to think if you were going to do that kind of operation, you would also set aside some acreage to make sure your livestock is going to have the food to survive.
Right.
You'd do the same with a cow, right? If you got 500 head of cattle, you're going to make sure they got about 1,000 acres to graze on, right?
Yeah. Well, these big fields, they need to deal not just a beekeeping exemption and stuff like that, and wildlife. They need to have other people plant flowers.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
The surrounding population.
Yeah, the surrounding population. Give them a break.
Yep.
Hey, if you plant
an acre
and
of
have
flowers,
them buy the seed from you, so you know they've got it and they're doing it.
Yep.
And stuff like that, and have them plant seeds, and get an exemption.
Give them a pollination
way.
exemption. Be like, hey, you're pollinating your land. You're pollinating the bees. Guess what?
Right.
We'll write you off. Yeah. We'll write off that acre.
Right. You know, we'll take a percentage off.
Yeah.
Even
I think
if
that's
it's a
totally
tiny bit.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair too. If you're going to do a beekeeping operation, like, hey, you get with the local residents, be like, hey, we got a beekeeper around here, and you know what, we're looking at people
have
that
them planting.
Yeah, we're looking at people that want to plant, set aside an acre of land to do just live pollen with perennials and annuals.
Yeah.
Right. That way you have that live pollen coming in year round.
Right. Right.
Right. Hey, give them that write off. Hey, you know what? We'll exempt that acre as long as you keep that pollinated.
Right. They don't. You know, but that I hadn't seen that, and I don't know if they thought that far ahead. It's just
I don't think
like
anybody thinks like that, though.
This
That's common
field right
sense.
here is totally plowed up. There's 20 acres there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and whatever you're planting in there, put one end of it or 2 rows on one end of it, flowers.
Yep.
Hey, you know, give them a write-off for that whole field. Or
like
something.
use the back corner right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
1 acre.
Right.
Let us put some flowers on it. Done.
Right.
Hey, okay, not a bad idea.
I mean, my bees are less than a mile over there.
Yeah.
They'll come over here to those flowers.
Yeah.
They'll find them. You know, and but yeah.
Still have cows out there just gnawing down the grass too.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We're gonna go out to the foreyard first and work our way back.
All right.
We'll go to that one next. That, and I know we're gonna have to do all kinds of stuff too. And but yeah, as far as that goes, they need to be a program after the program to help it along.
Yeah, to maintain
And,
it.
'Cause I feed 2,000 pounds of sugar a year, and I feed pollen substitute.
Now the sugar. Now, if there was more live pollen, could the sugar be taken away?
Yes and no. It can be lessened, but
Okay.
as far as taking away, I don't think so.
Okay, the sugar's still necessary.
Now this exceptional year, like this one, I'm fixing to put it back on because it's gonna, if the rain stop, it's gonna start dwindling real quick. So I got to have it prepared to put on there to keep the operation thriving. And but yeah, and I'll burn up 1,000 pounds of sugar doing it. And
So I hear that 1,000
and,
pounds of sugar.
the granulated sugar, they can't. I'll turn it into a brick, like a sugar board. I'll turn it into a brick in there, and as it pulls the moisture out of the air, it softens it up where they can eat it. What they don't want, and they can't eat, they'll pack out the front door.
That's what mine have been doing. They're packing what they can eat.
And what they can't eat. There'll be granulars that they can't chew and stuff like that. And but for the most part, they can't turn it to honey or anything like that. They use it as fuel to build more wax,
Fly, basically.
fly with, stuff like that. And so it is helping them, you know, big time. And you can use a conduit. They can't change it to honey. So everything that's in the hive right now, since we're not feeding sugar water like we would in late fall and stuff like that, and I'm fixing to buy probably another 2 barrels. Like if we get honey and we're pulling honey, then I'll buy 2 barrels of corn syrup and I'll start feeding it back.
Okay.
So they'll have stores for the winter.
Yeah.
And they'll start dipping into that probably in February, late January, early February through March. And then mid-March is when we start getting the bloom again. You'll start seeing different flowers start coming out. And the process will start all over again. And
You said the last 3 years they burned up a lot of sugar, though.
oh man, during the COVID, we couldn't even, they had ration sugar and stuff like that. I go in to buy 10 pounds of sugar to feed 31 hives. And they're like, I need a pallet. You know?
Like, sorry, sir, we can't give you that much sugar.
Hey, I got to think for the other vet friends buying us sugar, bringing us sugar, donating sugar. Believe it or not, I got my 1,000 pounds of sugar to feed the bees.
And it takes, what, 8 pounds per shim?
Yeah, 8 pounds sugar shimming and stuff like that. So we got all of the sugar we needed due to other vets bringing sugar by the house and dropping it off. And
With the business model that I'm doing for beekeeping, that's one of the things that I'm requiring all my clients to have on the property when I start up. 100 pounds of sugar, straight up.
yeah,
100 pounds, non-questionable.
yeah, you gotta have it.
Non-questionable.
You're gonna use it up.
Yep.
It's gonna be used up on the bees.
My client asked me, "Do we need sugar?" I was like, we don't need it right now, but yes, we will. So get it.
Yeah, because when you want it, you can't find
Yep.
it. I actually drive 4 counties to buy, you know, sugar and 200, 300 pounds at a time.
I can't even find the 25-pound bags on the store in the shelves right now. That's where it's at right now with sugar. You can only find the 10-pound bags.
I got 700 pounds sitting in my kitchen floor
Yeah.
right now. Oh, let's clean this up. Find a place for it.
His
you know?
wife's all bent because he got a half a ton of sugar in his kitchen.
Got to walk around it to go to the refrigerator, everything like that. It's like, okay, are you going to move this anytime soon? You say, yeah, we got to make sure.
No, we're going to starve to death first.
Right. I don't want to pack it from the back room up here, you know.
And the sugar shims, those things are pretty nice, man. John helped me build one for my girls. Eventually, I'll be putting them on all my out yards. I just got to get them built.
Well, they make a vent for the summertime, a vent for the wintertime.
Yep.
Then you've seen them eat it down to where it looks like a sheet of paper
Yep.
all the way across it. And so it helps insulate them, but they'll build the insulation with it, plus eat it up,
Yep.
you know.
They've eaten holes basically in all the corners of mine and one right through the middle.
Yep. And then you got dead airspace vent, like the inner cover.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your inner cover above that. So it helps them cool during the summer and everything. So
When you said when you split yours this last week, the sugar ships were full of bees, right?
yeah, they'll use it as extra bee space.
Yeah.
When it gets full, I know to split. And
So that's kind of another threshold, like you say. It's like having that sugar shim on top. It gives the bees more space.
yeah, it actually gives you, since I'm just working them off, I got a regular job 5 days a week, and then I come out on the weekends, so it buys me time.
Yeah.
It really does, and I hope we'll see some today where the sugar board is full. They'll actually build comb in it, and you got to clean it out. I split one the other day, and all I did is just I stuck 2 sugar boards on top. They eat them up,
Yep.
but they built comb in there, so I just moved it over to another hive, and set them on a box, everything like that, and they're building, making another hive, and just out of what was in the 2 sugar boards. So I put 5 inches of bees on top of another box.
Oh shit. Okay.
And so they're working it real good that way. And so it buys you some time, plus it vents it where you're expelling all the heat during the summer. Like if they're out in direct sunlight here, reach 110, 115.
I have mine in direct sunlight.
And that extra space keeps the hive cool where they can manage it, and they're a lot more happier than just
the heat
being
rises.
sealed up.
Yep.
And a vent board or your wire screen board on the bottom, which I don't use. I've got some of them, and I have mixed emotions about it. And
I think I might try a screen board.
Yeah, they do good. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
they do good. In the wintertime, I just slide some foam board in the bottom and leave it cracked a little bit, and then have the vent board up top, and they do just fine. That's the way it looked out here all 3 weeks ago, just flowers everywhere. And where they're grazing, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But
Really, like flowers out here are so pretty, man. When you find them on the side of the road, you see when they're really in full bloom. They really do look nice. Good on this
Easter, I thought everybody was going to pick them all.
Are those the blue bonnets or those are different?
That's the original blue bonnet of the state flower.
Yeah.
That's Rick's place right there.
Oh, is it?
Rick, I can't remember his name. I got a bee stand right there, right up there underneath the tree. That's where a tree fell on them 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put bees back there.
Okay.
But
look, all the blue bonnets in there too. They're
yeah,
all over the place.
no, I'm going to get bees back over here. And this guy, Tom sold this place, and I just talked to the guy the other day, and I'm going to put bees back here, but he wants me to move the stands right up here.
Okay.
And they're going to fix a deal where I can just drive down the fence on the inside, and they want them right over here.
Over on this side?
Right here. I was going to put them right
here
in
next
there.
to these trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can see my other boxes over there. I got to go get and move. They're over
Are you just
there.
going to move those ones over here?
Yeah, I'm just going to move them over there. And they're building a house over there, so we'll get them back away from there. But they'll get their full write-offs. I've had bees there for
We
a
were
while.
talking the write-offs too. Some of these write-offs are like $30,000 to $40,000, you guys.
Yeah, you can
They're
put 6
huge.
hives on there and get a $15,000 write-off on your property and stuff. So you're looking at a big money for it. And they actually don't pay us much for it and stuff. We get like, just to have the bees there, they get the write-offs. We'll get $100 a month or something. $1,200 a year is nothing counting $14,000 in write-offs. And
especially with what the beekeeper spends in time and money. And the beekeeper should honestly be getting that $15,000 back.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's not. I've done it all day. It's 15 hours, Saturday and Sunday on weekends, and then put in 70 hours at work, and so you're running 90 to 100 hours a week working, but you love it, so you keep doing it.
Anyways,
I know beekeepers that has had to quit doing bees due to health, due to just too old to do it. I mean, I met one the other day. He's 91 years old, and he has 2 guys go with him to help him lift the boxes and move stuff around and stuff like that. And I'm like, I understand because last Saturday I lifted boxes until I couldn't lift them anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm 55 years old, so.
Yeah, boxes aren't light.
They're not light anymore. When I was 20 and 25, they didn't weigh nothing.
No. Funny how that works, right?
Yeah,
They
they
probably
didn't
like
weigh
10 pounds,
nothing
right?
back then. But anyway.
All right, well,
they
we work
were-
some bees, guys. We're going to get suited up. We got I'll put some more videos up and show what we're going to do today. And
Yeah, well, I'll get him to video it. I don't know how well.
we'll see how these girls are acting today.
they're stacked on the door right now, so I know those 2 boxes are full.
Yep.
I just split that one 5 days ago.
The
at
one on the far
end,
right.
And they may have drifted back into the other 2 hives.
Maybe split them up. Well,
And then-
they'll split up like that too if they feel 2 boxes are empty.
Yeah,
or too full.
They'll move back and forth. and
They'll equalize themselves.
they'll equalize themselves out. And what we might do is, if that other box is full on top there,
break it.
we may break it again.
Okay.
Because of drifting, we'll just break it. If we
Split
find
it.
eggs, we'll break a whole box down.
Okay.
And have to come back in 5 days and put another box on top of it and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just one form of splitting.
This is just 1 yard, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
Three step.
righty.
Here we go.